This was for November 10th, and it was titled Running Away from Life. And this is what he said. In the spiritual teaching, we are told not to dwell upon our troubles, but instead to realize the presence of God where the troubles seem to be. Critics have suggested that this policy is, quote, running away from life, end quote. Is it? Suppose you found yourself in a house that was on fire. What would you do? You would leave the burning building as rapidly as possible. Would this be running away from life? Would it not rather be seeking life? Sickness, sin, fear, and limitation, these things are not life. They are partial death, and they are to be overcome by turning toward life, which is divine harmony. I'm going to say this again because I think it's so important. They are to be overcome by turning towards life, which is divine harmony. To turn away from evil and realize God instead is to liberate yourself, to help the world, and to glorify God. Now his quote from Isaiah in the King James Version is, "Look unto me, and be ye saved, all the ends of the earth." And the Lamsa translation is, "Draw near to me, and be saved, all the ends of the earth. For I am the Lord, and there is none else."
I am fumbling over what I called this talk, but basically it's about the world we find ourselves in now, since Tuesday. I found a book that I'd heard of years ago called The Fourth Turning that talks about the different evolutionary moments in our nation's history. And there's a little quote here that is very interesting to me. It starts out sounding alarming, but it ends nicely, so hang in there for a sec. History's howling storms can bring out the worst and best in a society. The next fourth turning could literally destroy us as a nation and people, leaving us cursed in the histories of those who endure and remember. Alternatively, it could ennoble our lives, elevate us as a community, and inspire acts of consummate heroism, deeds that will grow into myth-like legends recited by our heirs far into the future. And that was written a lot of years ago. So my question for you tonight is, are you ready? Are you ready to get engaged? Are you ready to practice moments of happiness in the midst of stupidity, darkness, fearfulness, confusion? Are you ready for more clarity? Are you ready to capture the light-filled vision of what this time is truly all about? Are you ready to capture the vision of the light workers and the light seekers passing through the eye of that famous needle and aligning ourselves, our mindset, and our beliefs with that understanding that we are in a time of transformation. We are in a time of evolution. And it is literally up to us. That doesn't mean you take the world on your shoulders like Atlas, but it means you take on your work and you don't let yourself have any excuses about what's important now. And if you were waiting for God's timing, the bell rang really loudly on Tuesday. So I had a vision. I had a vision yesterday, just a sudden view of women all around this entire planet joining and building a social reality that has nothing to do with power over at all. I quickly wondered what that would look like. What would we be doing? You know, I skipped over the part about how do you make that happen, but I thought, what would we be doing? What would we be doing for each other? And I thought we would do everything for each other. We would build an entire net of services and community, because we have women who are doctors, lawyers, women who are willing to be temporary harborers of abused wives and mothers as they get back on their feet. We have women who know about fixing cars. We know women who know about raising children. We have women who know how to make the music that lifts our spirits and keeps us soothed and inspired in this time of birthing. So are you ready Doesn't mean you have to know how to do it all in this moment, but are you ready? Are you ready to get out of bed? Because there is some work to do. And fortunately, that work is far less onerous, far less difficult than trying to fix the world. Because all we're trying to do is align. And that's a lot easier and creates tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, greater impact. So I've had more measurable healing and transformation, honest to God transformation in the past 2 years than I've had in the previous 35 plus years of workshops and spiritual efforts combined. And this is the time of great awakening for us. We did sign up for this. And yes, this week we all thought, what the hell was I thinking? Why did I get off on this planet? My God, what was I thinking? But for all of us who say that we're now awake, this is going to get a whole lot of us, including me, out of bed or out of bed more often, if you're already out. See, this is a time of inner and outer spirit-inspired strength and of taking inspired action, not fearful action. This is the time to eschew panic and fear as our day-to-day set points. We might have to feel the panic and the fear. And some of that is born of compassion for others and a knowledge of history and a fear of it repeating itself. I'm aware, for instance, that even though I'm not a religious Jew, this is the kind of time that created the Holocaust. And even though I feel the fear, and though I will use my discernment in every situation, I will not allow myself to be frightened into hiding. I will not. This is the time where we have to look to ourselves as well as beyond ourselves. So can we create safety zones for ourselves and for others? Will we align with the light individually and together? Will we become, in our own individual ways, together, an active part of building light on earth, new ways of being on earth? Now that we are awake, will we get the hell out of bed? See, some are called to start movements or join them. Some are called to start or join a small group of people lifting one another to remember the light and live the light in actual measurable ways every day. Some are moved to wake up. We're all in different places. But we have to ask ourselves to be more every day internally and to respond to spirit-inspired actions when asked. We cannot permit ourselves to take the easy way out every time. We cannot say, oh, I'm scared. Maybe I'll wait for God's timing, or I'll wait for next week, or I'll wait till I feel stronger. You can't wait. Not if it's at a certain place where it's a matter of, if I just grit my teeth a little and try something small or something a little bigger outside of my comfort zone and see what happens, I've just done the work. I've just served the great human spirit of these times. We have to do that. We have to reach further in and we have to reach further out. And we tend to say, we're the ones we've been waiting for. It's a great quote. I don't even know who said it, but we are the ones we've been waiting for. Maybe it was the Dalai Lama. But we haven't been leaning into that in actual ways, not in big numbers. And to lean into that means to show up for yourself, to show up for others, to speak up when everybody else goes, shut the heck up. And we must bring our discernment to the table, because we have entered a place where we have the reality that we are accustomed to, which, by the way, is completely upside down. And I'm not talking politically only. I'm talking, we keep thinking that we are physical first and spirit second, and it is the reverse. And learning to actually live that, understand that, get that, that's the work. The work is not about what we used to think it was. Oh, I want to be better. Better than what? You're already God. You're already made of star stuff. You're not the one, you're not the God who says, I'm going to make this happen. You're not that kind of power. But you are made of it, so you have it. You can tap it. we have to give up something that is pretty unconscious in a lot of ways for us. We have to give up victimization. That hides in a lot of places, so we can't be too hard on ourselves, but we do have to be diligent. So, we can do this even when it's to God, when it's to spirituality or religion. We go, please, God, please help me, give me this, give me that. You can say those prayers. It's not like there's a prayer you are not permitted to say. You can say anything, but you harness the power of your true being when you undertake such a prayer like that with an internal understanding or an effort to understand that you are praying to align with something that already exists and that you are already a part of, rather than thinking that you are asking for something that may or may not come to you. That is also the work. It's a different kind of work. It's not the kind of thing where you want to learn it the way we learned in school. I have the right answer or the wrong answer. This is a different game. Completely different game. You have to challenge yourself to explore your true feelings and beliefs just normally, like you would ask a friend a question. Why do you believe that purple is really green? And that person's going to give you an answer. Well, because it looks green to me. Okay, well, which truth seems more prevalent to you, et cetera, et cetera? You just question, 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 question. Get to the core, because once you see what's real and what's not, the what's real is so much more powerful. The what's not just drops out. Happened to me about a week and a half ago. I was sitting here going, really just frustrated and angry and crazy, trying to get myself to do something, to make something happen. I had this belief somewhere in me that if I just push hard enough, I've been working on this particular thing for a long time, but I had come down to the end, apparently, to sort of the last block. If I just push hard enough, effort hard enough with this push of energy, that I'm going to make something happen. And I suddenly saw it for the absolute bull that it is. I mean, it was unmasked, naked, emperor has no clothes. And in that moment, I went, God, this does nothing. This accomplishes literally nothing. And I sat back in the chair and I went, yeah, that's useless. So now I have to live my life from this place. This is a much better place to live my life from. I won't be stressing myself the hell out. I won't be stressing my nervous system, my heart, my emotions. This is much better. Where do we find our rest in a time like this? Because I don't know about you, but this week has been one of grief and a feeling of impotence and rage and fear. And it was only when I came to a place where I said, this is the great awakening, where I started listening to others who were saying it, and I went, wait, I forgot. I heard about this in the 80s. In the 80s, I heard we're going to come to a place in our history after 2012. It's going to start in 2012, and everything's going to start to unravel. The systems that we're a part of are going to start to melt. And we all said to each other, and this was in 2000, I don't know, in the 80s, we were all like, what the heck does that mean? And then I heard it again in the early 2000s, and we were all like, what does that mean? And we were all like, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. Well, this is what it looks like. It's an invitation. At the same time as it is threatening AF, it is also an incredible opportunity if we will see that and accept the mission. And it has to be done together. We have to start building the structures that are from the feminine perspective, with the balance of masculine and feminine, instead of all masculine, no feminine. We've got to build community, collaboration. We've got to make room for each other because we don't understand each other, and it's very difficult. It's difficult even when you're on the same side of an argument to understand each other. So we've got to practice, we've got to look for ways to actually make room for each other, to understand that reaction that we have inside to somebody, getting triggered, we like to say, is not the same as a response. We can actually take a moment with our reaction, and instead of squelching it, question it, explore it, honor it, give ourselves the attention we keep waiting for other people's to give us. And then decide what response we would like to have to create the kind of outcome in world and quality of being, quality of life we want to have. So where do we find our rest while we're so busy with this? We find it in one another. We find it in meetings like this. We find it in conversation. We find it in new ways of meeting. We find it in reaching out. We find it in the energies of our alignment with light. That means aligning with happiness, even though that means aligning with your emotional energetics and letting yourself rise 1%. Because that 1% feels like a heck of a lot more than 1%. And that's amazing. We find it in understanding and really telling ourselves with kindness, giving ourselves the grace to say, my best is enough. Best is enough. And also to tell ourselves, as I keep telling me, I'm not the only one out here. There are so many people out there dreaming up things to do and ways to be. And I have to exercise that knowing so that I will stay out of panic. There must be active faith. But faith in what? Have we not been praying traditional prayers for the many, 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 many years that humans have been on the planet and spiritual? We have. Has it helped? No. We keep going around and around and around in these different cycles. There's something bigger. The bigger is you, actually. Spiritually, it is said, and I feel that this is true. I have found it to be true in my life. What is small in the human is big in the spiritual. What is big in the human is small in the spiritual in terms of impact. Amachi, my teacher, my spiritual mother, says real faith is the faith in one's own self. So I want you to ask yourself in this moment, how does that even sound to you? Because when I first heard it, I was like, you must be kidding me. I have all these issues and I am very messed up. And what am I supposed to have faith in about myself? I don't even know when I'm making a right decision. What are you talking about? That's how I felt when I first heard that. Well, now I have a completely different viewpoint of it, but only because I went looking. I wanted better. I wanted more. I wanted quality of being. I wanted to understand these truths that sort of picked at me like little, like little nitpicky things that wouldn't leave me alone. And I was like, I want to understand this. I want to embody this. I want to see if it holds water for me, if it's true or not for me. And then I want to know if it's true for everybody, regardless of what they think and believe. Now, I've come through so damn much. Haven't you? Haven't you? And I've
Yep.
managed to do thank you. Yes. Yes. Exactly. And I've managed to come through with very little money and very little rescue of the nature that I was looking for, that I was expecting, that I wanted. Haven't you done the same? Haven't you come through things where you were like, God, I don't know what the heck is going on, and I just have to freaking claw my way through this? Haven't you come through the despair? Haven't you come through the grief? Haven't you? We all have. Who did that? You did that. You did that. We all marched through that river of shit like Andy Dufresne did in the Shawshank Redemption movie and came out the other side into the cleansing rain. We've all done it. We're doing it again now. The difference is now we have to do it together. We have to be vocal when we want to be quiet because we're scared. We have to create groups. We can do it underground if we feel that frightened, but we have to come together. We have to learn to communicate. We have to question the hypocritical, the contrary things that lie within us. We've come a long way with exploring what hurts, with exploring the trauma. Very important work to do. But we've been lacking, as a general thing, I believe, an understanding of how all of the trauma and how all of the fear and all the rest of it is not as solid as we think it is. That we actually have a far greater power to shift it with something that has been poo-pooed because it's associated with the feminine, and that's your emotions. We've heard it over and over again. Oh, you're too emotional. Why are you so emotional? Because I'm a freaking human being, asshole. Emotion. Emotion, it tells you where you're standing. It tells you where you're going. And if you don't want to go there, you can change your emotional state of being. I didn't know that. Many people still don't know that. Many of my fellow depressives don't know that. I've come out of it by doing exactly that. We have to question. And you know what? I was thinking about it while I was writing this. I was thinking, this may be why they called the Jews the chosen people, because we question everything. Absolutely everything. Not to be annoying, but to find the answers, to get to that truth, to get to that core truth with a capital T that is outside of what we recognize, outside of dogma, outside of the places that we think are safe, but that will inevitably let us down. I know for years, decades, my whole adult life, money is the place where I keep saying, if I just had enough money, I would be safe. And I dare you to tell me money ain't important. It is. But I kept hiding in that. I kept putting my well-being in that. And of course, that meant I didn't have a whole lot of well-being because I had a bunch of money at one point and it went away because I was still in poverty consciousness. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that shift things or keep them the same. This is not about wrong and right. This is not about opposites. This is about, are we ready to take that journey into our brightness, into our light? Are we willing to take that journey into understanding the things we say we believe? Are we ready to hold their feet to the fire and go, I need to understand this? Shoot, you can go and, go on YouTube and find a million teachers, and maybe one of them will hit that button that you go, God, that speaks to me. That makes sense to me. Now I get it. I've had a number of those, even just yesterday or day before. Somebody sent me an incredible video about how she calls this the time of ascension. So it's not about trying to be perfect. It's about playing the right game. Whatever is what they call your dharma, which means like your felt responsibility to do, you will do. Are you the kind of person who's going to go work on building a new government? Are you the one who's going to go and build a new worldwide group of women who will come up with something that we've never thought of before? This is the time for creatives. I think it was Maya Angelou on a thing on Facebook today saying that, no, it wasn't, I don't know who, anyways, wonderful Black woman. And she said, she's a writer, and she said, oh, I know, it was Shonda Rhimes. And she said, I was sitting here going, oh my God, I can't write. I can't make anything happen. Oh my God, there's nothing I can do. Oh, poor me. And somebody said to her, what are you talking about? This is exactly the time when creatives create. This is the time when the new comes forward and the inspirational comes forward and the voices come out. This is the time. And she went, oh my God. She was like, she said, so I snapped out of it. So for the extroverts among us, I would say, get busy. Do your internal work. Find a way to do that, but do it. Don't do it all alone. Don't do the whole thing all alone. Stop it. Stop that. Stop that. No, no more Marlboro Man. No, no running out on your horse with your cap on and I'm the guy who's going to do it alone. No, you're not. Get yourself into groups of people or start a small group. It doesn't have to be a group of 20. It could be a group of 3 who share your vision. Immerse yourself in the life-giving reality as much as you can. Start to learn how to experience that when you lift yourself by 1%, your life changes. Now, you're not going to just lift yourself 1% and leave it at that. You're just going to keep lifting yourself 1%. And it's cumulative, guys. It's cumulative. For the introverts among us, you want to do the exact same thing. You want to lift yourself. You want to do the work. And if you want to start something, but you're like, I don't want to be the front man. I don't want to do that. I'm an introvert. But I do want to start something for my friends. I do want to have a meeting or something, whatever it is. Make sure one of your friends is an extrovert. They'll do it for you. They'll get out in front for you. There really could be no more pointed message than the one we've received now. It's not about differences of opinion now. It has nothing to do with opinion now. It has to do with what qualities and what aspects of our spirit do we want to bring into the world for ourselves and for the future of our world. And we are so amazingly powerful. Our energetics, our emotional set points are 10,000 times stronger than any darkness. That's literal. That's not just like a nice idea. That's literal. And that's why, and I am not a Bible person. I'm not against the Bible either, but I'm not a reader of the Bible. In Psalms, it says 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. And that has to do with walking through dark times while you are vibrating at a higher emotional frequency so that it doesn't even see you. Louise Hay talked about this. I saw her live in the 80s, Boston. And she said that she had been repeatedly raped by her stepfather. And that as she grew up and she married an alcoholic and she got beaten by him. And it was just her setting. And finally she divorced the husband. And in her mind, like twice or 3 times a day for years, she would murder her stepfather in all different kinds of ways. And then she went on to do more work that was more uplifting. She needed to feel that anger. She needed to express it in a way that wasn't out in the world hurting anybody. And after she got through that, she did more of the internal work. And she says now, those kinds of people don't even see me. They just don't even see me. So when you read in the Bible something like, if you say the Lord is my refuge and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your tent. That is what it's talking about. The beautiful time that we came to usher in, and this is why the hell we thought to do this. We didn't come here to suffer. We came here to birth something new out of energy that has nothing to do with this, the scary reality. This is our time as creative human beings. I don't care what your job is. You are creative because you're human and you've created your life from the time you were born. It's your time. It's our time. And you are powerful. And I love you.
Thank you. Any thoughts to share, folks? Yes,
I'd like to add one more thing, because what I'm finding about this time of awakening is that there's a need to unkink the hoses in the mind. And that a lot of it, I'm not even aware before I learn it that I needed it. And one of them that I was given recently was I was watching. Do you guys all know who Bashar is? Apparently, it's a channeled being. I never heard of him till this year and recently. And yet he's been doing this for 40 years. So there you go. When you're ready, the teacher appears. And Siobhan goes, yes. So he talks about something that really clarified for me why why the system we've been living in, the psychological, emotional, um, uh, human system that we were given like a blueprint laid over us when we came in, doesn't work. It never worked particularly well, and it really doesn't work now. Because he said, when you're just relying only on your human self and you're not aligning with the higher mind, you're only working with half of yourself. There's only half of yourself operating. You're missing half of your existence, and that's the part that actually helps you, that actually gives you the quicker way to get where you're going, the more elegant way to advance, instead of you like doing what I did and for so long, and still occasionally do, like knock into walls and, go into the maze and get stuck in a corner, So I love that. This idea really was a breakthrough for me in terms of, oh, like it's now. It's always now. And it's me. It's all of this stuff always comes to me like another layer of my belief that somehow the divine is not near me, when in fact it's right here and it's right now, always. And the adventure is to open to that, is to figure out how to open that. It's not like to beat yourself up and go, crap, I don't know what that means, or I'm not feeling it, or I don't. So I just wanted to share that in case it's as enlightening for anybody else as it was for me.
Okay. Thank you. Somebody else with a contribution to make? Oh, okay, Leah.
I like to talk, Lori. Yeah, it's time of change. We're all in it. Yeah, I've heard of Bashard. I've also heard him, a couple times on different podcasts. So yeah, because that's what I mostly listen to on my cell phone is certain podcast. And I like what you've said. I've also like Kyle Cease, Matt Kahn, different ones. And I know you've heard them and Mike Dooley and all them. And Kyle sees what he talks about too, which is a reminder for me, is that we have all emotions because that's what we're supposed to feel as a human is emotions. And he talks about instead of because we're taught to, oh, you can't, we're taught you can't have a bad day. You're not supposed to be sad. You can't have any negative thoughts. You can't, do all that. And he talks about feeling it, looking at it, and say, oh, and then tell your body, oh, so I feel angry today. Okay, I feel angry because this happened and it made me feel this because it triggered from something else. And he teaches, like, just tell your body that it's okay. I'm allowed to feel this emotion. Oh, okay. And he goes, once you recognize it, then that emotion will leave you and what comes in place of it, because it doesn't need to be held on to anymore. And what comes up is feeling better about not just about yourself, but about life. But the frequency, the emotions, the energy, whatever you want to call it, becomes more uplifting. But it's remembering not to put yourself down for feeling down. It's recognizing it and saying, oh, okay, I get it now. So that's why I like about Kyle Cease, because he gets to the feelings and says, why do you feel this? Is it something from your mother or your father or a sibling or whatever? And I really like how he does that. And so I liked your talk about what you had to say about, well, questioning, and that is part of the questioning. Why are you feeling down today? What triggered when somebody made you angry? What was that cause? Not that you're a bad person, because again, we're all part of God. We all have God inside us, so there is no negativity. It's just learning and allowing yourself to be that human that you agreed to come down as, and just to live life, go with the flow. And sometimes that's hard, Lori, as you know as well as I do. Go with the flow. Oh yeah, I need to do that, don't I? But I wanted to do it. Yeah, that's what got you in trouble, because you decided I want this, and this, and the universe is like, uh-huh. How's it working? So yes. So I really enjoyed your talk. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Leah. Cheryl Ann, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to share something that the Quakers in Indianapolis put out today that goes along with Lori's very good lecture. Thank you, Lori. Here's to the bridge builders, the hand holders, the light bringers, those extraordinary souls wrapped in ordinary lives who quietly weave threads of humanity into an inhumane world. They are the unsung heroes in a world at war with itself. They are the whisperers of hope that peace is possible. Look for them in this present darkness. Light your candle with their flame. And then go. Build bridges, hold hands, bring light to a dark and desperate world. Be the hero you are looking for. Peace is possible. It begins with us.
Thank you. Somebody
Can you
else?
put that in the chat?
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
Leah,
I will.
also, if you'll email it to me, because I can't catch the chat, I will send it out to our entire mailing list.
Okay.
Okay. Yay. Okay. Liz.
I just wanted to say thank you, Lori. I have nothing to add. That was very lovely and very all-consuming. Thank you so much.
Yay. Okay. Trish.
Hi, today's my first visit with this, and
Welcome.
thank you. And Lori, that was incredibly inspiring. I am in lots of groups with light healers and internet locally, and I am very grateful for everything you said. And I'm one of the most extroverted people you will ever meet. So I'm one of those people you were talking to. So, thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you, and I'm grateful I'm here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's see. I saw someone else. Oh, Siobhan, did you have something to say?
Hi, everyone. I did. I just want to say for this wonderful lecture. I don't know why I always get surprised when everything is aligned, but every time I come on here, the message is just so on time. And yet I still get surprised, but I love it. I know this week I feel like I have been needing to bring the light a lot more and to remind people of our power within. Based off of what's going on in the world, to stay grounded, to stay at that place of peace. I've been having some really interesting experiences. Don't know why. The latest one was 2 weeks ago. I was just by the river, just relaxing, and I happened to see this really unique duck, I think it was. It had a red beak, beautiful black and green feathers. And I just happened to look over at it. It was probably a few feet away from me. And the most random thought came to mind, and it was, is this duck always alone? Does it travel in groups? You know, it's just kind of a lone duck. And next thing you know, the duck gets in the water and it starts swimming. And I didn't pay it any mind. Well, lo and behold, the duck came to me. And it was the wildest thing. It comes over to where I was standing at the edge of the water. It gets out of the water and it comes to the place. It comes so close that I could touch it if I wanted to. And I'm like, what is happening? So I actually try to take my phone out to try to start recording without like making any big movements. And next thing you know, the duck shakes off and it does its thing and it sits down and it goes into this little nuzzled space. And I look at it and I said, oh, this feels like a good time to meditate. So I sat down. Next to the duck, I began to meditate. And then next thing you know, I kind of heard noises in the background. And so I kind of looked over and a couple had walked behind me. I guess they were intrigued at what was going on. And I look over and next thing you know, they're sitting down too. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then, you know, shortly after it all wrapped up and the couple asked if that was my pet. And I said, no, we just met. I have no idea where this duck came from. And we went on about our business. And as the duck got up, I got up. And I said my thank yous and gave my gratitude. And we went our separate ways. But I can't shake that moment. It's just living in my brain. I'm trying to understand what God was trying to show me or tell me through that experience. But yeah, that was the most unique. I did have experience with the turtle the other day as well, but that was just, he was in the room. So thank you so much for this lecture and that remembrance that it's time for us to do the work. We are ready. And I've been having this on my spirit. It's time. I don't know exactly in what capacity, but I'm just open. So thank you for all the messages.
Thank you. Dear God, we thank you for this community, for having brought us together again to share, to grow, to support one another, to work together to lift this world up, even in this difficult time. We thank you for the overall lifting of this planet that you have done and continue to do, for creating miracles where we see no opportunities, for buoying us when we feel depressed and defeated, for helping us to understand that we can lift up and lift up the world by our own presence. We thank you for the good you've given us, the good you're giving us, the guidance and the wisdom that you're giving us. We say thank you for all the good. We say thank you, thank you, thank you, and amen.